You know, when I think of historic upsets, like in sports, you think of things like the Miracle on Ice or Leicester City winning the Premier League. But you sent us some stuff about chess, about an upset that shook, well, the whole chess world, I guess you could say. This 18-year-old Gukesh D defeating Ding Liren to become the youngest world chess champion ever.
It's really, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? To surpass, Kasparov, Carlsen, names that are just synonymous with chess.
It really is, yeah. And we've got a really cool mix here. We've got news articles, we've got in-depth game breakdowns from websites like chess.com, even some quotes from grandmasters weighing in on the match. So I think let's dive into not just the moves themselves, but the strategy, the psychology, the whole 9 yards of what makes this championship so remarkable. Where do we even begin?
Well, I think it's important to set the scene. It's game 14 of the championship. And Ding Liren, he's in a must-win situation. He opens with the ready opening, which is known for its flexibility. It allows him to adapt his strategy based on Gukesh's responses.
But Gukesh counters with the semi-Tarrasch defense. What kind of message is he sending with that choice?
The semi-Tarrasch as black is interesting. It can lead to these sharp dynamic positions, which even might seem surprising against someone like Ding, who's known for his positional style. It suggests that Gukesh wasn't afraid to play aggressively right out of the gate, to throw Ding off balance a little bit.
And then there's that move, the one everyone's been talking about. Around move 16, Gukesh makes this seemingly simple pawn push with e5. What's so special about this e5 move? I mean, it's just a pawn, right?
Yeah, on the surface, it looks pretty unassuming. But what's so fascinating is how this move just throws a wrench into Ding's plans. You see, by pushing e5, Gukesh immediately cramps Ding's position, restricting the movement of his pieces, and forces him to make these uncomfortable choices.
Okay, so walk me through this. What kind of difficult decisions did Ding have to face after that e5 push?
Well, one of the main issues is that Ding's light-squared bishop, which is a crucial piece in many Resi opening setups, it's now completely blocked in by the pawn on e5. So he's forced to either retreat the bishop to a less active square, which wastes valuable time, or exchange it for a less valuable piece. Neither option is ideal, and this pressure just starts to snowball throughout the game.
It's like that e5 pawn is a pebble that starts an avalanche, right? One seemingly small move creating a cascade of problems for Ding.
Exactly, precisely. And this is where we see Gukesh's tactical brilliance shining through. He not only calculates the immediate consequences of his moves, but also how those consequences will ripple across the board, creating these long-term weaknesses in his opponent's position.
Okay, so we've got this pressure building. The game is heating up. I'm dying to know. How does this lead to the end game?
Well, Gukesh doesn't let up. He keeps applying pressure, gradually improving his position. As we move towards the end game, Gukesh has managed to advance his queenside pawns, these little guys on the left side of the board, into a truly menacing formation.
Menacing? How so? It's just a bunch of pawns, right?
Yeah, they might seem insignificant, but positioned correctly, they're like a battering ram. They're protected by Gukesh's pieces, and they start advancing down the board like this relentless army. They're threatening to promote to queens and completely overwhelm Ding's defenses.
So it's not just brute force. It's coordinated movement with all of his pieces working together toward a common goal.
Exactly. Gukesh's style isn't just about aggression for its own sake. It's calculated, it's precise. He utilizes all his pieces harmoniously, creating this overwhelming force that's really difficult to resist.
You know, one of the things I was struck by in the articles that you sent is how even seasoned grandmasters were just in awe of Gukesh's play. There's this one quote from Magnus Carlsen that I keep coming back to. He said, Gukesh is not just playing chess, he's composing poetry on the board. I mean, that's high praise coming from a 5-time world champion.
And it's well-deserved. Carlsen's point is that Gukesh isn't just following known patterns or churning through these calculations. There's an artistry to his play, this almost intuitive understanding of the flow and rhythm of the game.
That's what's so fascinating, right? It's not just about brute force calculation. It's also about this deeper sense of chess aesthetics.
Yes. And this brings us to another crucial moment in game 14. Around move 39, Gukesh makes what's called a waiting move. He doesn't try to force anything. Instead, he makes this seemingly insignificant move that allows the position to ripen, as they say, in chess.
A waiting move? Okay, you're gonna have to break that down for me. How can doing nothing be such a powerful move?
Imagine a predator stalking its prey. It doesn't just rush in blindly. It waits for the perfect moment to strike. That's what Gukesh is doing here. He recognizes that the position is already favorable for him, and by making this waiting move, He forces Ding to make a decision, to react to the pressure.
So it's almost like a psychological attack. Gukesh is saying, I am so confident in my position that I can afford to wait, to let you make the first mistake.
That's exactly it. It's a testament to Gukesh's incredible psychological strength. He doesn't just understand the complexities of the position on the board, but he also has this deep understanding of his opponent's mindset, his anxieties, his vulnerabilities.
And that brings us to the endgame, where Gukesh's pieces are like a well-oiled machine, all working in perfect harmony to support this unstoppable pawn march.
It's like watching a master conductor leading an orchestra. Every piece has a purpose. Every move is calculated to maximize the pressure on Ding. And ultimately, it all becomes too much for Ding to handle. He resigns, and Gukesh is crowned the new world chess champion.
Game over. New champion crowned. History made. But what's really remarkable is that this isn't just a single victory. It's a culmination of years of dedicated work, a testament to Gukesh's unique approach to the game. Speaking of which, let's talk about what makes his style so unique.
I think what sets Gukesh apart is this seamless blend of aggressive tactics with a deep strategic understanding. He's not just calculating variations, he's grasping those subtle imbalances in the position, planning long term. It's almost like he's weaving a tapestry of strategic advantages.
So he's got this raw talent, this ability to see things others miss. But there's this one article that talks about how Gukesh isn't just relying on, raw talent. He's also putting in the work. It mentions that he's been studying with grandmaster coaches since he was a child.
Yeah, that's crucial. There's a quote here from Viswanathan Anand, another former world champion. He says, Gukesh's work ethic is as impressive as his talent. He's constantly analyzing, learning, and pushing himself to improve.
Which is pretty inspiring, right? It's a good reminder that even at the highest levels of any field, natural ability only takes you so far. You got to pair that with dedication and a relentless pursuit of improvement.
Absolutely. But let's get back to that killer instinct. There's a certain fearlessness in Gukesh's play that really sets him apart. Where does that come from?
Yeah, it's like he's not afraid to take risks, to go for the jugular, even against these seasoned veterans. Is it just a personality trait, or is it something more?
I think it's a combination of factors. Part of it is his age. He's part of this new generation of chess players who've grown up with access to these incredible resources, like chess engines and databases, so they're not bound by the same dogmas or limitations as previous generations.
So they're able to analyze and explore new ideas more freely.
Exactly. And because they've grown up analyzing thousands of games with engines, they're really comfortable calculating these complex variations and finding these hidden possibilities that others might miss. They're not afraid to challenge established norms, to really push the boundaries of what's considered correct play.
That brings up an interesting point. There's a lot of discussion in these articles about the impact of technology on chess. Some people are worried that this over-reliance on engines will make players less creative, more robotic in their approach.
Yeah, it's a valid concern. But I think Gukesh's approach is a good model for how to use technology effectively. He uses engines to deepen his understanding of the game, to explore new ideas. But he doesn't let them dictate his every move, He retains his own unique style and creativity.
So it's a tool, not a crutch.
Exactly. But getting back to Gukesh's fearlessness, there's also a psychological element at play here. He really seems to thrive under pressure, almost as if he welcomes the challenge.
There's this one game, it wasn't a championship match, but it was a really tight game, where he was down to just seconds on the clock. He had to make this series of incredibly difficult decisions under, immense time pressure. And he just did it flawlessly, ultimately winning the game. It's like he's got ice in his veins.
It's remarkable, and it's a testament to his mental resilience and focus. Some players just crumble under pressure, but Gukesh, he seems to rise to the occasion.
It's fascinating, right? This ability to stay calm and collected when the stakes are so high, it almost defies logic.
It does, and it's just something that can't be taught. You either have that mental fortitude or you don't, and Gukesh clearly does.
All right, so we've talked about his talent, his work ethic, his fearlessness, his mental strength. We're starting to get a clearer picture of what makes him such a formidable opponent. But let's zoom out a bit. What does Gukesh's victory mean for the future of chess?
That's the million-dollar question, and these articles offer some intriguing perspectives. Some experts believe that Gukesh's victory could usher in this new era of dynamic, aggressive play, where calculated risks are favored over slow positional maneuvering.
The sort of Gukesh effect, where players are inspired by his style, and start taking more chances.
Exactly. His style is so captivating, so exciting to watch, that it's bound to inspire younger players to emulate him. And that could lead to a more dynamic and unpredictable chess landscape, which would be incredibly exciting for fans.
More exciting games, more upsets, more drama. But what about the established players, the old guard? How do they adapt to this new wave of fearless chess?
That's the challenge they're facing right now. They'll need to adjust their strategies, study Gukesh's games carefully, and perhaps even incorporate some of his ideas into their own play.
So it's a wake-up call for the chess world.
Yeah.
A signal that the game is evolving, that a new generation is here to challenge the old ways. I'm curious, though, speaking of new ways, there's been a lot of talk about Gukesh's opening repertoire. He seems to favor what are called hypermodern openings.
Ah, yes, his opening choices have been a hot topic. The term hypermodern might sound intimidating, but it's actually quite simple. These openings, they focus on controlling the center of the board indirectly, often by developing pieces on the flanks first, rather than immediately occupying the central squares with pawns.
So instead of a direct attack, it's more about setting traps, luring your opponent into a false sense of security.
Precisely. It's a more subtle approach to controlling the board, and it aligns perfectly with Gukesh's overall style. He's not afraid to cede the center early on if it means gaining other advantages, like superior piece development, or a more flexible pawn structure. He's playing the long game, setting the stage for a devastating attack later on.
It's like he's saying, come on in, the water's fine, and then bam, he springs the trap.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that he's not just blindly following this hypermodern dogma, he's blending classical principles with these modern ideas, creating a unique and unpredictable opening repertoire that keeps his opponents guessing.
That's what makes him so dangerous, right? He's not afraid to experiment, to break the mold, to find new and creative ways to gain an advantage. It's like he's constantly evolving, constantly pushing the boundaries of the game.
And that's what makes following his career so captivating. He's not just a great chess player, he's a pioneer, an innovator, someone who's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in chess.
There's this one analyst in one of the articles who compares Gukesh's impact on chess to what Bobby Fischer did back in the 70s. Fischer completely revolutionized opening theory, and now we're seeing Gukesh doing something similar, but in his own unique way.
It's an apt comparison. Both players brought this fresh perspective to the game, challenging established norms and forcing everyone to rethink their approach. It's too early to say definitively, but Gukesh's impact on chess could be just as profound as Fischer's was.
It's an exciting time to be a chess fan, that's for sure. We're witnessing the emergence of a new era, a new style of play. And Gukesh is at the forefront of it all. But there's one element of his play that we haven't talked about yet, and it's perhaps the most crucial element of all.
Yeah, we've talked about his tactical brilliance, his strategic depth, but what about Gukesh's composure under pressure? That seems to be like a defining characteristic, wouldn't you say? Absolutely. It's one thing to, calculate variations and come up with these brilliant plans, but it's quite another to actually execute those plans flawlessly under the intense pressure of a world championship match.
Especially at 18 years old. Most people at that age are stressing about exams, not, facing down a seasoned world champion in a game with, global stakes.
It's remarkable. There's this anecdote in one of the articles about Gukesh's training regimen. Apparently his coaches would they would deliberately put him in these high pressure situations during practice sessions, like making him play blitz games with very little time on the clock, or forcing him to defend these really difficult positions.
They were basically trying to recreate the mental and emotional stress of a championship.
Exactly. They wanted to build his resilience, to teach him how to stay calm and focused even when the pressure was mounting. And clearly it worked. Gukesh's composure in game 14 was incredible.
There's this one moment right before he makes that waiting move we talked about. The cameras zoom in on his face. He just dead still. No sudden nerves, no hint of doubt. It's like he's in this meditative state.
It's almost Zen-like, isn't it? And that's what separates the good from the great. It's not just about talent or knowledge. It's about having that mental and emotional strength to perform at your peak when it matters most.
So it's that combination of raw talent, hard work, and this almost superhuman level of composure that makes Gukesh such a unique and formidable champion. It's like he's got the complete package.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. But what strikes me as particularly interesting is that Gukesh's story, it goes beyond the world of chess. It has implications for how we think about success, about potential, about the role of youth, in a world that often prioritizes experience.
That's a great point. We live in a society that tends to revere experience,
Yeah.
to assume that, wisdom and expertise just come with age. But Gukesh's victory, it challenges those assumptions.
Exactly. He's a reminder that age is just a number, that brilliance can emerge from these unexpected places, and that sometimes it's the fresh perspectives, the untainted approaches of young minds that can shake things up and lead to these groundbreaking achievements.
It's like that old saying, the student becomes the master. Gukesh has not only mastered the game, but he's also showing the masters a new way to play.
It's truly inspiring, and it makes you wonder what other fields could benefit from this kind of youthful disruption. What if we started valuing potential as much as we value experience? What if we encouraged more young people to challenge the status quo, to think outside the box, to bring their fresh perspectives to the table?
It's almost like Gukesh is a symbol of a changing world, a world where the traditional hierarchies are being challenged, where youth and innovation are no longer seen as mutually exclusive.
And perhaps, just perhaps, his story can inspire a new generation of thinkers, creators, and innovators to step up and make their mark on the world, regardless of their age or background.
What a powerful thought, and what a perfect way to wrap up this deep dive. We started by exploring the intricacies of a single chess match, but we ended up talking about so much more. About talent, about hard work, about the power of youth, about the future of innovation.
It's been an incredible journey, and I think we can all agree that Gukesh D is not just a chess champion. He's a phenomenon, an inspiration, and a symbol of the limitless possibilities that exist when we dare to challenge convention and embrace the power of fresh perspectives.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. What can you learn from Gukesh's story? How can you apply his lessons to your own life, your own pursuits, your own dreams? Remember, age is just a number, and the world is full of possibilities, waiting to be unlocked by those who are bold enough to dream big and determined enough to make those dreams a reality.
Until next time, keep those minds sharp, those passions burning, and those imaginations soaring.
And who knows, maybe one day, we'll be doing a deep dive on your groundbreaking achievements.